go ahead and get the meeting started. There's a progress meeting for Prospect Street. We can do introductions. I'll start. I'm Doug Skyless with Rural Professional Services Company, the project manager.
I'm Deborah Sanders with Rural Professional Services Company. I'm the on-site inspector.
Mike Phelps with the contractor.
Marvin Wallach, village president.
Michelle Polis, village clerk.
Lyle Valley Street Administrator.
Steve Clark, sewer administrator.
Ed Saradowski, Public Works.
And Joe.
Jim.
And Jim.
Concerned citizen.
There you go. All right. Well, Mike, if you want to, why don't you take us through the work completed today?
The culvert's all in. We're still waiting for a few pieces and whatnot. Actually, they're on the punch list that we received also. So we'll start taking care of those when some of the items are on back order. And start taking care of any issues on there that we can here shortly. The beams are set. The beams are grouted. We're looking at pouring the deck for next Friday.
As in a week?
Yeah. We gotta post-stress the beam still, and then finish up some form work and whatnot. So we should have a deck pour by next Friday.
What else needs to be done on Prospect, on the bridge?
We'll have 7 days of cure on the deck, obviously, and then there's a little railing and whatnot. We'll have to form that up in the backboard, and it's at the rail. So we can tie up the ends.
And you have some asphalt work on that yet, right? That
Yeah.
each end of it?
Yep.
So if you pour the deck a week on Friday, how long after that do you think you'll be doing your railing and then backfilling and asphalt?
We'll probably get most of the backfilling done right after while the deck's curing out, and get the formwork ready to go. Should be much longer before we get everything kind of tied back together.
So for completion, are you thinking 2 weeks, 3 weeks?
I'd say 3 weeks. And any loose ends shortly after. Punch this one out.
Okay. And the punch list items that we gave you, I mean, there's a bunch of little ones on there. I'll get you a copy when you're done. The village gave me this from the post office. This is the criteria for setting mailboxes.
Okay.
So I'll get a copy for Deborah too, so we want to make sure that we're setting them in compliance with the postal regulations. Okay.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's all.
Then Deborah and I looked at the area on the south side of the culvert that's holding water. It's the west side of Tietz, south side of the culvert. It's holding a little bit of water. It would be like the southerly part of the gravel drive to the church.
To the church,
Yeah,
yeah.
and Deborah took some pictures when it rains, it's holding some water. So he's gonna look at checking some grades in that area, and we have an idea of how to get that. The water was supposed to go from the west side to the east side and sheet flow over the road. But when they paved it with a little bit of a crown in it, so it can't get up over the crown.
I see.
So one of the things that we talked about was looking at some grades in there and maybe feathering or wedging up the west side so it does sheet flow back over. So he'll look at the grades in that area and see what can be done. Then when the paver comes back in for the ends of Prospect, then we can adjust that area.
Did you, Doug, did you take a look at the problem down there with the guardrail?
We did look at it, Deborah and I looked at it, I talked with Nate about it yesterday. Is that your property?
Yes.
Yes.
And it's a bit of a tight issue because we have to have guardrail up, it's required by MDOT. Originally that guardrail was going all the way around that corner so you can have a radius on it and better protect traffic. But that would totally have closed off access. So they removed the radius from the project. What you see on the guardrail right now are temporary ends on them.
Yeah.
The permanent ends are on back order, but they'll be a little wider, but they won't be much bigger. About the only thing I could offer is to look at, to see if we could shorten it up by one post. I can't commit to that because Nate's already forewarned me that we're probably not meeting the MDOT criteria already. And I'm a little reluctant to promise that we can shorten it up another couple feet. Looking at it, it depends on what you're gonna turn in there with. So it is tight. If you're turning in with a car, yeah, I could probably make it with my car. If you're using a pickup truck, probably not. I mean, you'd have to swing out and then come back in, which, you know, with little or no traffic there, you could do that. If you're turning with a tractor, yeah, you might have to go up the road and come back the other direction to do that. So I don't know how you're using that area.
How is this meeting designed? Am I allowed to?
No, go ahead.
Okay.
You're here.
Okay.
It's a whole new meeting, so
Okay.
I'm looking for input.
Okay, I think, and this again is just from my perspective, I think there's a couple, three problems here. In order for us to turn into that, well, we can't safely turn into that driveway from the north. In order for us to do that, we have to make a 3-point turn. And that's not a safe thing to do on a bridge, on a curve. We don't want to be pulling in there, backing out, and then trying to come back in. And I took some pictures just to kind of give you a little better idea of what we're seeing when we get there. You mind if I?
Yeah, no.
This is a picture here, Doug, of I'm sitting in one of my cars, okay, right in front of the Mr. Steinkraus's house.
Okay.
And I took a picture of my car coming out of my driveway. You can't hardly see my car.
So your car's back behind the guardrail?
There's the wheel of my car right there.
Alright.
So we have a problem with, these folks aren't gonna see me coming out of there. That makes me nervous. So that's not the worst thing from our perspective.
Okay.
This is me in my car, in my driveway,
Looking back this way.
looking back that way. Now, my car is sitting over here, and you can't see it at all. There's just, it's gone from the picture. That's the same picture, except I got out of the car and stood up from the car, and now I'm looking over top, so you can see the cars there. Okay, and then this is just radius guardrails, all that is, but that part makes me nervous, because we have kids coming back and forth there during school, riding bikes and so on and so forth. Now, whether it's my family or somebody else's family, there's gotta be a way that we don't have to subject everybody to a dangerous situation. That's,
Well, and you're used to that, everybody's used to that road being closed. So it's
Yeah.
gonna take a long time for the kids that ride their bikes back there
Yeah.
to get used to the road being open.
we already see it where they take, and it's not that the speed is such a big deal at this moment, but you can see when they take the curve, you can watch the tracks on the road, they hug the guardrail on the inside, and then they kind of bank off the guardrail on the west side and come around is what they're doing. So for us not to be able to see oncoming vehicles, that is a
Tell me
problem
what
for
you
us.
use that access for.
Well, we do a lot of things in there. I mean, currently, we have a horse in that pasture is what we do. So we're taking tractors, we're taking my car in there, we're taking my pickup in there, just various different things. So, now what we thought, and this is just a suggestion, I'm not an engineer, but if we took the rail, this is the second post, I think, here. If we're able to put a radius on this rail here and bring this back towards this post, that's my corner, or not the corner post, but the north gate post, we could say. And
Okay.
I could meet you there if you'd like me to do that, I'd be happy to do that. If we could radius that and bring this back here, that might solve the problem as well. We could still probably put 2 posts in here if you need 2 posts on the end to do. I've studied a little bit because
Right.
we tried to avoid this at the beginning, but, a month before this started, and then it for whatever reason, it didn't work out, but
Okay.
that's why we're trying to solve it again here, so.
All right.
Okay.
Well, maybe we could look at it in the field. I know Joe asked
Yeah.
the visitor, but we could look at that. I can come back here and meet with Joe.
Oh, yeah, I'm fine
And
with
see, what that might look like.
Yeah,
I'm not.
I meet you there too.
I'm not, yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah,
After this
absolutely.
meeting, we could go look at it and see.
Yep.
And then Nate, who's the project engineer, he's much more in tune with guardrail criteria than I am. I don't do a lot of guardrail work. So we'll see what we can work out with that.
Okay,
Is Nate on site?
appreciate it.
No, he couldn't attend this morning, so.
He'd be here if he was on site.
Yeah, he'd be at
Yeah.
the meeting.
Okay.
I know one of the challenges with that particular guardrail is we were kind of locked into the type it is with the back guardrail, which means it's got railing on both sides.
Yes.
Just because it had to span the culvert completely, because we couldn't put any supports into the
Yes.
top or through it.
Yeah.
So I don't know how.
That'll probably shorten your distance between posts when you make that radius.
Yes, that's the thing. Like I said, we can take a look. I'm not sure how
Yeah.
much the flesh we can get out of that, but we'll definitely take a look.
Alright. Well, when we're done here, if you have a few minutes, we can go out there and take a look at it.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's see what we can work on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Thank you.
We listed out some information we need from Z Contracting, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
So those are hanging out there. What we'd like to be able to do is process a contract mod to bring things up to date, clean a few things up. So you could pass that on to the office staff.
No, we will get that taken care of.
Okay. Do you have any information that you're needing? Surveyors are out this
Yep, see
morning.
they're out there doing the,
Your deck grade.
our deck grade and stuff
Okay.
for our screeds, so we should be all set.
Alright.
I don't know if it's an item on here, too, Doug, our guys here, that the ends on the guardrails, because all that street is narrow, of course, I was down looking at it. And the yellow ends, black and yellow ends on the guardrails, as a marking, in other words, will they be put on?
Yeah, they'll be on the permanent ends when they get them in stock.
Oh, yeah, okay, they're probably the little, more
Yeah.
of the square ones,
Yeah,
or,
with the,
yeah,
I think it's in here that they're back ordered.
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, I noticed it when I pulled up there, it was sort of like, seems like it's really close,
oh,
so.
you see with
Of course, I know the road was narrow before, so.
Yeah, the pavement is actually a little bit wider than what did it call for in the plans as well. So the travel surface is still there. It's just because the pavement's wider, it's like the guardrails are
Right.
encroaching on a little more than they should. So
I just would like to see that it's safe there for someone who possibly don't hit it, but, there's always chance for an accident, which we don't want.
Do you have any information that you're needing? Surveyors are out this morning. Do you have any information that you're needing?
Surveyors are out this morning. Okay.
Okay. Item 5, discussion issues, etc. We talked about Tietz Street holding water. Deborah's gonna look at some grade. We'll look at the guardrail after the meeting. Mike, there's some Deborah and I we looked at the culvert area pretty extensively this morning. So there's some silt and things in the creek that need to be cleaned out.
Yep.
And then in that southeast quadrant, there's some ruts, I'd say. I don't know how to describe them, but it needs some more attention on that quadrant where things are eroding some.
Looks like an ATV or somebody drove in there perhaps, ready to a little bit or something like that.
Any issues from the village that we wanna discuss? Ed?
I got a complaint from a citizen this morning, a yield sign that's there, they're requesting a stop sign. They're worried about head-on collisions on that corner. They'll have to go.
That's always been a yield sign, hasn't it? Forever?
Well, yeah.
Because that bridge used to be open.
That'll have to come out of the police department, won't it?
Well, I told them that it has to be a traffic control order from the chief, so I couldn't just change it without his permission.
That's somebody that lives in that area?
Right there, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Not you.
Funny.
A couple houses from you.
well, that's something that you might wanna consider. I don't know how much through traffic you will or won't get, but
I'm sure it'll be a circus for a while until it wears off. and-
Well, people will drive down it just to drive down it, but I think once it's done, it'll only get used if it needs to be. Like if Main Street Bridge is out rather than
yeah,
going around like they had to.
alright. Well, that's something the village will look into.
Yeah, we'll take.
Yeah, that's not,
Gosh darn.
it's Howard telling me to do it.
Anything else, Ed? Steve, do you have anything?
The mailboxes are still
pending.
yeah.
Yeah, they're on the list.
Everything's okay.
There's one set of mailboxes that will probably get, right now they're up temporary. They'll have to set them permanent, but they'll have to bring them out closer to meet the postal requirements so that they can be reached by hand from the truck or whatever.
Has the post office been delivering mail?
Yes, I was,
Have it?
they've been interrupted at all.
Okay, good. Okay.
They're not delivering mail ours, so.
No.
You're there in the corner now,
Not
so,
really down there right
okay,
now.
yeah.
Really?
Yeah, they're not.
So how do you get your mail?
Go to the post office, they hold on to it for us.
Has it been going on throughout the whole process, or?
Yes, because they didn't have a choice, they had to pull the mailbox out.
Well, yeah, I know it was out for a while.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
But not everybody had their mailboxes torn out. That's why.
no, but there's something,
Post office they're not delivering nothing on that street because the road close sign was up, that's what I heard. But
they're gonna have
road
to change
close
their
signs
route
are-
or something.
Yeah.
Now, I'm told they're
Route-
delivering mail down there
routes.
now.
Okay.
So I've seen it the last couple of days, but, yeah.
I think they started once they took that road close sign down at the corner over there.
Well, as long as everybody understands, it wasn't the village that said don't deliver mail. That was the post office that said don't deliver the mail.
I think that you guys are doing a good job on this. I don't hear any complaints. I hear a lot of praise, so thank you very much. I think the contractor's doing a great job on that.
I was surprised how quickly the
Quickly.
old bridge was
Yeah.
cleared out of there.
Yeah. We all were. I think Nate sent me an email that morning and said, first beam's in, and when I left here, they were all in. So,
Yeah, and I think that was during the rain then too.
yeah, I think it was.
It was
Yeah.
pretty good.
That was pretty awesome.
Everyone out there,
I don't know why I
yeah,
drove by, there was nothing there, and I drove by again, they were all there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That was pretty quick.
that's good.
They were saying this morning they're having some issues with bees.
Yeah,
Oh, I bet.
they didn't see him in the crane boom mat hit like the tree a little bit, and all of a sudden there was lots of
There was a
bees.
big nest in a
No.
tree over the road. Yeah. Deborah said the crane operator jumped out of the crane.
Oh, I bet he did.
Yes.
I would too.
At Fenton Excavating there in Potterville, and they hit some kind of nest, and it swarmed all over the excavator for a couple days.
Oh.
Oh,
Yeah, that'd be nasty. you know, when you see them, that's one thing, but like I was telling Deborah, like over by the bridge, there's one in the bank. So the ones that are built in or in the ground, and you don't know they're there.
Until you just-
find out the hard way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty rough. And it seems like your bridge guys are pretty well aware where they are,
Yeah,
so they're
yeah.
watching.
That's fine.
Lyle, do you have anything else?
No, just thank you very much. Good jobs.
Joe, do you have anything?
No, just what you and I need to talk about
Okay.
invoicing after.
Michelle?
Just mailboxes.
Mark?
I like to see the progress going good and no complaints, and which I haven't heard any personally myself, so it seems very, very good. So
Yeah.
Biggest
it's a good-
complaint is that we opened the
Good
bridge.
compliment for
Yeah.
our contractors and engineers, is that.
Yeah. Mike, you have anything you want to bring up?
No.
Deborah?
We're good.
You guys all get your money in a timely manner? Everything's good?
Okay, so we've got like looking at approximately 3 weeks or a little more for completion of
Yeah.
another progress meeting.
If we want one, we can schedule it. 2 weeks, maybe that'd be a good time to, by then we'd be looking at a completion date more, more definite, so.
Right.
Yeah, we
Sure.
could do that.
Now, let's go 2 weeks.
Does this work okay on
Works good.
Yep.
today's Wednesday?
If you want Wednesday at 10 o'clock, that's fine.
Yeah.
Works good for me.
Yeah, let's plan on that 2 weeks. I do have, just for the record, a sign-in sheet, so I pre-signed in most of you guys already with your information. Steve, I could use a phone number for you.
Okay, I'll give you my cell number.
Do you wanna do that on camera?
I'll fill it out.
Alright.
I'll
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry about that.
That's your.
No, that's okay.
It's
I
his
didn't think about
personal
it.
cell
I'm in the
phone,
phone
just so
book.
everybody understands
I
why.
think we're done then. We didn't have anything else.